Coming front court, across the timeline with 10, knocked away, Dudley Bradley. Dudley Bradley for the stop, 70-68, 3, 2, 1. Matthews off balance, off the glass. Dudley Bradley's defense did it. And ready on his second attempt. That one is no good. They battle for it, loose ball, recovered Marvin, he scores. Pushes into Hubert Davis. 8 seconds. Davis trying to get free. Over to Fox. Fox, baseline. Up for the shot. Does off the glass. Oklahoma calls timeout. But the game is over. The game is over. Carolina is upset. Number 1, Oklahoma.
Turns it over. Kenny Williams with the steal. Gets it to Barry. 17 seconds to go. Barry, Duke not fouling. Gets it to Johnson. To Pinson for the highlight.
Inbounds goes deep on the right sideline to make.
Holy smokes, a long three!
Are you kidding me?
Holy cow!
Vincent gets all the way to the rim, and what a way to pick up his first field goal of the season by throwing down the tomahawk.
With 20 seconds left to play, goes back to Michael Jordan, jumper from out on the left, good! 63, 62, 13, 12, 11, Georgetown with one timeout. Fred Brown looking, oh, way to Worthy! 35! The Tar Heels are going to win the national championship!
Rebounded by Weber. Michigan out of timeout. Weber front court, Carolina with foul. He takes the timeout. They're out of timeout. Technical foul. Technical foul. Brown gets it into Williams. Here comes Williams front court. Williams on the drive. Gets it back out to Head. Long outside shot. Short rebounded. Hey! It's over. Carolina has won the national championship. How about them Tar Heels? They are the national champions.
That's it! Make room for 2017. The Tar Heels are the national dadgum champions.
This is the Roy's Boys podcast with your host, Joshua Marlowe.
Hey everybody, and welcome you to another edition of the Roy's Boys podcast, powered by Carolina Electrical Services. For all your electrical needs, call my dad, Jacob Marlowe, at 704-320-7357, and he'll take care of those for you right away. Josh and Anthony, we're back after almost a 3-week layoff. We told you last time it was the offseason. We were going to take some time, and we took some time, 3 weeks, but now we're back.
That's right. We're like the basketball team itself. It took a little bit of time. We went back, saw some people we knew, hit the gym for a couple reps, and now we're back at it. Apparently, Roy is pointing at us to pick up the pace here, so that's what we're doing.
Yeah, and we were jumping right back in, and even though it is the college basketball offseason, really the dead period for a lot of things going on in college basketball, we've got a lot to talk about, including a fun debate topic we'll get to in a little bit. But first, start off with some news revolving the Carolina basketball program. The first bit of news, y'all already know, seen this on Twitter, Facebook, and through Carolina basketball. The ACC network, which launches tomorrow night, is going to have an all-access TV show revolving the Carolina basketball program. The show will debut in October, and it's going to have a behind-the-scenes access with, Late Night with Roy, practices, workouts, home games, and what the team does when they go on the road. Just some of your initial reactions to this news. We also got to make fun for Duke. One of their blogging sites saying how this was one of the worst decisions that the network could have made. Your program literally had a show last year on ESPN Plus, and your network dedicated their life to Zion Williamson 365 24/7.
Okay. So should I start with that? Because, okay, here's the thing about that. Let's just get that out of the way first. Ball Durham's like that's a legit like Duke website. Like they're I think the 24/7 sports equipment. I don't know, because I'm going to be honest, I really could give a crap about them. I don't care about them. I don't read any of their stuff. I just could care less. I focus on Carolina, and that's pretty much, that's it. I'll focus on some other teams maybe around the country, but them, I could care less about. I don't read their stuff. That's a legitimate account that, yes, said, first of all, what's the appeal of following Carolina basketball? okay, well, you bring in one of their best recruiting classes in a long time, including a guy that's ranked number 2, number 3, wherever you have him in the nation. You have easily the most entertaining coach in the ACC. And if you think that Coach K is more entertaining than him, you're a moron. You know nothing about entertainment. Roy Williams is easily the most entertaining college basketball coach in the country because of his folksy wisdom. Everybody loves Roy because he is hilarious. He gives you these absolute gems, and he is the only human on the face of the planet that actually uses daggum in everyday life. There's no one else that does that. Okay, so having Roy on there is going to be great itself, but I think, look, like you said, last year on ESPN Plus, which that jackass conveniently decided to forget, he said that, I like how he just that account proceeded to not respond to me when I said, weren't you guys on ESPN Plus last year? And wasn't Zion pretty much he had his own feature segment on there? They literally had a camera everywhere around Zion except his dorm restroom. Even there, they questioned and they told them, no, we're not allowed to put it in there. I've never seen a team that got more coverage than the 2018-19 Duke Blue Devils. So to come out and say that this is ridiculous that the Tar Heels are getting an all-access show, yeah, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. Now, the actual show itself, let me calm down.
I was about to say, are you done?
Take a breath. I think it's going to be really interesting because, first of all, you get to follow around one of the best college basketball players as well as true freshmen in the country this season, Cole Anthony, which is also cool because he is the son of an NBA legacy. So, you look at Greg Anthony. He was a pretty good player. For us, we like Greg because he was part of the Knicks when they were actually good and when they didn't suck. So yeah, it's going to be cool seeing him. We know that just from the outside as Tar Heel fans, we've seen it the tightness of these guys as a team every year is just unmatched throughout the country. These guys are, when we talk about Carolina family, this is Carolina family. So I think that people are going to really get a look at that. You get Roy, you get a staff that I think is just not known nationally. Everybody knows Hubert Davis from his time on television. They don't really know Hubert Davis as a coach. But I think he's going to be able to handle the camera really well because he's been there, done that. So I think he'll give you a lot of interesting insight. And then, there's some other guys on the staff, Sean May. We get to see, sort of an expanded role for him. And, we're going to learn a lot more about this team than we've known in the past. You get the videos that come out every so often from the Carolina basketball account, but you're not getting the everyday insight into this team. And with the All Access show, I think it's going to bring that. I'm looking forward to it because we got so many interesting guys on this team this year too that I'm looking forward to seeing, them. The personalities aren't quite as big as they were in the past. I'm going to admit one of my first thoughts was we couldn't have done this when Theo and Joel were here. Yeah, but it's going to be cool. I'm excited.
I think one thing that got missed in all of this was how open Roy Williams, who is as old school as you're going to find, understanding the 2019 climate and saying this is good for us. It's only going to help in recruiting because this is exposure for him and for the program. Not that Carolina basketball needs any more exposure because of the entity that it is, but just the openness of Roy Williams and all this, I think is a big sign that he's open to be doing something new. I don't think this would have happened 5 or 10 years ago if the network was around back then, but it's a different time.
Look at the three of the biggest programs in now 3 consecutive seasons have had shows. Duke last year on ESPN Plus. Kentucky had their show on Netflix a couple of years ago, and now Carolina. Yeah. So I feel like Roy kind of looked at the other schools, the Blue Bloods, and said, "Yeah, we kind of got to do this."
And I just think some personal things I'm going to keep an eye on is just, we are going to get to see this staff in a different light because they are going to be on camera seeing. We have our ideas of how these coaches are, but now we're getting to see it in practice.
I am so excited to see Steve Robinson working with the camera people. This is going to be awesome.
So this will be something that we'll definitely talk about during the basketball season once the show airs. Just our thoughts from every episode and stuff like that. So we knew y'all knew about that, but we just wanted to give our 2 cents on that. We moved to recruiting, which even though it was a dead period for coaches being on the road and meeting with recruits, doesn't mean that the recruits themselves are in a dead period. And so a lot of guys in the last couple of weeks have knocked down a bunch of lists and named a lot of visits that involve coming to Carolina. So starting September 20th, for that weekend, Carolina hosts 2 5-star players in Caleb Love and Walker Kessler. They'll be on campus from the 20th to the 22nd. R.J. Davis will visit Chapel Hill from October 11th through the 13th. So we got 3 guys that we have coming on official visits. All these guys are highly recruited prospects. Some other guys that we made some of their final list for. Zaire Williams, his top 7, Carolina made that. We're in the top 5 for Greg Brown. Donovan Puff Johnson, Cam Johnson's little brother, Carolina listed in his top 7. We're also in the top 5 for Isaiah Todd and Cade Cunningham. And DJ Stewart listed Carolina in his final 8. Mind you, these are all 4 or 5-star prospects. Also need to note that Carolina's not going to land every single one of these players, but we are back to recruiting at the level we expect to recruit. This is just a kind of sign of that when you've got multiple 5-stars and highly regarded 4-star players having Carolina at the top of their list. So that's definitely exciting, and we'll monitor their recruiting as we go forward. I think one thing we need to look at is if Cole Anthony comes in and balls out,
right,
like Kobe White did, this will start helping Carolina get more of the top 5 players, top 10 players to come here. I know that's not the way we want to run the program. That's not how we're supposed to build a team, but we're not going to say no to that kind of talent. So
right, and it's only, here's the other thing, it's only one guy. Now we don't know what Armando is going to do. Maybe he decides to stay, maybe he goes. We're going to have to wait and see on him. Honestly, first guess, he's a little thin, so I would like to see him probably stay, but again, we haven't seen them even in a practice video yet. A full practice video.
Selfishly, I hope he stays, because could you imagine a front court that the next year would include Garrison Brooks, Sterling Manley, Armando Bacot, and Day'Ron Sharpe?
Right.
That probably would be the best front court in college basketball.
You just talked about guys like Walker Kessler, Greg Brown, Isaiah Todd.
You're going to lose a guy or two.
Or all 3. You never really know, because that's the other thing about recruiting with these big level guys is that, playing time is huge. Like, you've got to have playing time available. So, when we miss out on these guys, I just want people be cautiously, take a look at the situation before you say, Roy's just not doing a great job recruiting or whatever. And I encourage you to do the same thing with other schools as well. If you say, so-and-so has really lost their recruiting touch, you got to see who's already in the program. If there's not playing time, these 5-stars are not going to commit there. They want to play. They are selfish. Everybody is. Everybody wants to, when you go to a job, you don't say, I don't really want to shine yet. I want to wait and, kind of wait around a few years, and then I'm going to jump up and surprise the boss. No, you want to come out of the gate early and surprise the boss and look really good.
And also another thing that's changed is how much more involved the Blue Bloods are in the grad transfer market. You've seen Carolina this past year. Kentucky and Michigan State have all been very active in that, and that changes how you recruit these one-and-done kind of players because you're building teams differently.
Right. There's only one school that's not doing that, and that's Duke. That's the only school that's not recruiting.
And it's not a shock that they haven't made the Final Four since they went there with their one-and-done squad in 2015. Moving on, Late Night with Roy was announced earlier this week. Kind of an odd date. Love the idea, though.